Hey everyone, welcome to my session here, Rebranding Your Classroom for Free. My name is Grant Haynes, and I'm super excited to have you here with me today. This is a part of the NC Bold series from the summer of 2022. If you were unable to attend the live session, it's okay because you can still get everything you want to here. And so this is designed to be a 2-hour workshop that will kind of go into a little bit of, it'll have some set aside work time. So the whole video is not 2 hours long, if you can't tell already. But there will be time set aside for you to work on particular projects that are inside of this workshop that you can actually still submit inside of the same folders and uploads that we use for the live session. So you'll also be able to see galleries of things that people have created as well. So I hope that you utilize this as a resource to work on branding your classroom. So to start off, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Grant Haynes. Here's my email and Twitter if you ever want to get in contact with me. But I'm an instructional technology facilitator at Cleveland Early College High School in Shelby, North Carolina. I've been here since 2016. We're a pretty small school, just over 200 students and about 16 staff. And so very blessed with working in a small school-like environment, but still have access to a lot of the public school resources. Been in education since 2009 and tried to work on getting as many certifications as I can to try and be as knowledgeable to help people out when figuring out ways they can utilize technology in their classroom. And so we're going to kind of take a look at that today with the rebranding of the classroom. So let's take a look at what this is. So past couple of years, it's been a little crazy. I hope that you've noticed. But in that sense, students have been on an island of their own. Like they've kind of been off on their own. And this past school year, the 2021-22 school year, was the first time we all came back together. And I'm sure, like us, many of y'all have probably experienced a lot of difficulties with kids, even though they had, about a year and a half off from regular school. It's amazing how much of a reset their mentality took. And so we're having to figure out how to work together again. So this is just an option to try and see if you can develop a sense of community with your students. So with classroom branding, what we're basically doing is let students help you as a teacher develop an identity for your class. So in elementary, this would be a great thing because you're kind of with the same teacher throughout the day. You can help develop like a sense of your whole class of what's going on. Middle school and high school, I know we have blocks and everything. So you can kind of figure out the best way that works for you. If you want to do it for each class, you can. Or if you want to kind of do like your entire history block of classes, like y'all can kind of work collaboratively across each period to kind of figure it out. Whatever way works best for you, but hopefully you get some inspiration from this. But by helping basically develop a brand and kind of a logo and a motto, the kids can have a sense of ownership and identity, and they're going to work together and then also develop a sense of community and family with each other, because when they see that logo, like, hey, that's us, we're part of that. And so kind of help them come together as a group. So what we're going to do next is we're going to do a little bit of an introduction, but we're going to have a little fun with it. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically create silhouettes as sort of a way of doing an about me slide. So here's an example slide that I went ahead and created. I'll actually show you how to do the silhouettes here in just a second. So just kind of give you an idea what I want to look for on this. And here's the intro slide is basically put some, after you create your silhouette, customize it, use colors, whatever you want to, and then drop in some photos, GIFs, icons, whatever you want to into this slide. You can upload any type of image or video file that kind of represents you best. So that way we can kind of get a sense of who is visiting our sessions. If you want to put in if you have any social media or emails that you would like to drop into it, feel free to go right ahead. So if you want to leave some contact information, that'd be great. And also this GIF right here, I'll actually show you how to do the silhouette part, but I'll show you how to do that live right here. And so it's pretty simple. All we do is go up here to the insert photo or little photo icon, or you can also go up here to insert and do the insert image, and then you'll get the same options here. But we're going to choose the camera. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to turn your head sideways and get a profile shot. So I'm just going to turn my head sideways, take the photo, and then we're going to insert it in. So first things first, let's make this a little bit bigger so we can draw this out a little bit easier. And so what I'm going to do is first, if you double click the image, you can get these black bar sliders, and then we can just frame just the head. And then from there, we can blow this up nice and big. Doesn't matter if it's blurry, as long as we can kind of get a pretty good outline of our head, then we're pretty good. You can see everything going on here. So from here, we're going to use the curve tool right here. So this is the lines, and we're going to use curve. And the way this works, you just kind of click as you go along. And so as you see, as I move, there's nothing really right now, but if I click again, see I get a little bit of curve here. And every time I click, I can get a new curve. So as we go around, we're just going to keep clicking. The more clicks you do, the kind of more round the shape will be, but it tends to kind of smooth out itself. Just be careful you don't double click or click too close together, because then it'll think that you're done and it'll try to make a shape from that. So we're just going to take our time, and it does not have to be perfect in any way. And if you're a perfectionist like me, that's okay also. But this is just going to be just for us to look at. Still taking our time, working our way around. And I'll leave it up to you where you want to, if you want to go all the way down to the neck, or if you want to go to your head. Let's see, we'll just do that right there. And then, whoop, done like that. So let's just work our way around here. And then we will connect it right there. So here's our shape. Got a little head shape. A little funky, but it's all right. We're going to delete that photo right there, and then we're just left with this image. And so from here, yeah, so you can see why it'd probably be best just to cut the neck right here versus kind of going around here, but that's fine. And you can also, if you double click on it, you can actually manipulate the shapes if you want to, but we're not going to worry about that right now. But if you do see like a weird blemish, you can double click and you can see it everywhere you've clicked. So with this shape, like any shape, we can actually change the color of it. So if we wanted to change this to like a blue color, and then change, let's say we want to make our outline a little bit more bold, we can go something like that. And now we have a shape. We can resize it if we want to. Just grabbing it by the corners. If you grab it by the sides, it might make it a little bit different. So, but yeah, play around with that a little bit. Create your little About Me slide, and then drop it in there. All these are open. You should have editing access, so just grab any slide on here and leave some contact info so we can keep in touch with each other if you have any questions about branding your classroom, okay? So, from here, in our live session, what we would normally do, let me move my recorder over here. So from here, the plan is, what is your brand? So with the group sessions, you would normally have you get with a group and then figure that out. So with you, figure out what a brand you would like to try out with. This is just a kind of a planner session. So think about what classes that you teach, the people that you work with. If you want to grab a friend and like, hey, what's a cool brand name that we could use for a class? This is not something that you have to use for it. This is just for practice. And then I want you to take some time to actually figure out just a brand name that you can use. And then after we figure out your brand, now we're going to figure out your logo after that. And by brand, it can be like a school name or class name. So like the history nerds, or mathletes, or those are very general ones. But in the end, this is what your kids are going to come up with. So you'll do the same kind of sense. So if you do an introduction activity, have them look through everything, and then what you can glean from that is, what are the things that we have in common together as a group, and then what can we develop as a brand name for our class based off of those similarities. So if you want to, if you're looking at this a little bit later in the year and there's already some slides on there, group a couple slides together and kind of come up with your own team name based from like 3 or 4 slides that you kind of identified with, and make something from there. So it's up to you, but just take a couple minutes to do that. And then you can pause the video now if you want to while you talk about that, and then come right back in and we'll move on to the next part. So after we come up with a brand name, we have to come up with a logo. A logo is going to be what's most recognizable. So just grab some pictures of logos right here that you can take a look at. And a lot of these, you can look at them. Some of them, they don't even have a name on them. A lot of them do, but you can look at it and you know automatically what they are. So that's what we want to try and think about, kind of what makes a logo iconic, what makes it recognizable. And so what I'd like for you to do is I'd like to get your input on this. And so over here on the left side, I want you to submit a response of basically what do you think makes a logo iconic. So if we click on this link, you can just enter your response right here. You can also scan any of these QR codes here if you'd like. And then if you'd like to see what others have written, you can click the right side link. And there's nothing on here yet, as of yet, because this is being recorded prior to the actual presentation. So there will be some responses here. But I encourage you to try and submit your own responses to this, so that way we can see what makes a brand iconic or a logo iconic. So it's easy to see and what you can do. Okay. So from here, we're going to take a look at some tools that actually that can help you create your logo. So move this out of the way so you can see the QR code. So the 3 that we're going to look at today are Google Drawings, Google Slides, and Canva. Now, there are multiple others out there. If you're Microsoft users, obviously you can use PowerPoint or any of the Microsoft products. For this particular situation, we're going to take a look at Google. It's free. So if you don't have a Google account, you can create a free one if you'd like and utilize that for your for this particular session if you want to. So looking at it, Google Drawings, you can create images with clear backgrounds. You can resize it to whatever you want it to be. So you can make giant posters, you can make small icons, whatever you want to, you just size it to what you need it to be. And then once you've created it, it's any changes you make save automatically to Google Drive, so you can download it at any time and then utilize it from there. Google Slides, same exact features as Google Drawings. The only thing that you don't have is the clear background. Google Slides automatically inputs a background there since it's primarily a presentation tool. However, there are add-ons such as icons for Noun Project. That is a paid option, but there are some free versions of that out there that you can use. And then the one thing that I like to use Google Slides for is the slide deck, because I can have multiple drafts of the same file. So say I create one version of it, but I want to have another version to take a look at, I can just duplicate the slide, and then I can make my changes, make other changes, duplicate it some more, and then I can have a whole slew of options to choose from. And then so when it comes time to, say, for example, you create an icon for your class logo, you can have the slide show up, they can look through it, and then figure out the one they like the best. Canva is one that I've really gotten into using over the past year because they now have their premium features is now they have a Canva for Education option. So you can click or scan the QR code to get to the link and take a look at that. All you do is just sign in, you verify that you have a school email address, and then you've got it. It's really quick, and you can get in and see all the features that are available. So this includes thousands of templates for worksheets, presentations, posters, logos, certificates, you name it, they've probably got a template for it. And the other thing they have is a brand kit. We're talking about creating a brand for our class. You actually have a brand kit, and by brand kit, I mean, you can actually have a logo, fonts, colors, the same things that you may use for multiple types of files. you can have them all in one place. So when you're creating them inside of Canva, you just click the brand kit icon, and then you can pull your logo onto a worksheet, or you can pull it onto a certificate, a website banner. It's always right there, so then you don't have to go hunting for it later. And then the other thing that I really like about it, all of these have mobile app versions. However, Canva is pretty much the exact same on if you use an iPad, and as the same one as you use on your desktop. The phone version looks a little bit different, but you really actually have pretty much the exact same tools. I've created several Instagram posts and Facebook posts that we do for our school on my phone sometimes, because I may not be near my laptop and we need to get something out. And so I'll create that really quick, use a template, and it's out within about 15 minutes. So highly recommend that. We'll definitely take a look at it here in just a second. So before we create anything, you have to think about the inspiration. So like you're creating a brand new logo. How do we get our inspiration? How do we figure out what these things are going to look like? So what you have to do is basically look at the world around you. Like, we are surrounded by brands. Like, sitting in my office, I can see a Coca-Cola bottle, the logo for our school, Appalachian State logo, Apple. So like, there's logos everywhere. So what you have to kind of do is just take a look at them and just think, all right, what can I create that can kind of emulate this? Take photos at clothing stores. There's been several times I've been shopping with my family in a variety of different shops, and then you'll see like, oh, that's a cool logo. Take a photo of it and then see if you can recreate it. It doesn't necessarily have to be the exact one. You may not have the exact font, but you can probably find something pretty close to it. And then just kind of look at what's being used. What shapes are in there? Are there shapes that I can combine together inside of like Google Drawings or Slides, or even inside of Canva, to make the shape that they have there? And then just play around with it, And then the other thing is mix and match. You may like one part of this logo, but you like how they use this on this logo. Combine them together and to make your own unique thing. And so play around with it. Definitely always try and play around with logos before I come up with something to see what works best. And then usually I'll put them in a Google slide and send them to my principal. I'm like, hey, do you like this? For example, we always try to make a senior T-shirt every year. And so every year I look at I'll look at high school. I'll Google high school T-shirt designs. In fact, let me just take a look at one real quick. So let's say we just go high school T-shirt designs. And so we look at these, and some of these are like, and you kind of have to know your skill level. So if somebody's like, oh, I could definitely make that, or maybe there's ones you're like, there's no way I could. So like, for example, the one with the claws coming through, that's going to take someone who actually knows how to draw. And here's the other thing: outsource your drawing to, if you have a really talented student, ask them to draw you something or to make something artistic online and have them send you the file. Always, if you have zero skill in art or graphic designing or anything of that nature, which you don't necessarily have to for this, outsource it to someone who does. Say, hey, I know you're really good at making this. Could you possibly do this for me? So you just kind of look through and look for inspiration. You can go to the grocery store. You go on the chip aisle, you'll see 100 different logos right then and there. So you just kind of play around and just think, all right, which are ones that I can make? Like, this is a super simple class of 22 or 2022. I already know there's a font inside of Google that looks fairly similar to this. And then all I got to do is just change the color of that. And then I could replicate this and use this as my own. Now, be careful, however. You don't want to replicate too much to the point where you're actually infringing on copyright. So you may have to modify certain fonts so that way you can kind of make it your own. But you can still get that inspiration and be like, all right, I know I can make that. So just kind of play around with that and just go looking. Check out things and see what works best for you. Let me close a couple of these tabs here so we can make sure our laptop doesn't die on us from overload. So what we're going to take a look at, I'm actually going to create a logo really fast. We're going to start off with Google Drawing. So let me go ahead and open up a new drawing. The way we can do that, we can go to Google Drive. We can get that by going to drive.google.com. Or if you're inside of Chrome, you can click the little waffle icon and find the Drive icon there. We're going to go here to New. And Google Drawings tends to be a little hidden gem, so you always have to go down to More and then go to Google Drawings. Let's see. I'm going to move me over here. And so I'm just going to create a simple logo that I can utilize throughout the rest of this presentation. And so one that you kind of see a lot of times is a kind of like a shield icon. And so we're going to go ahead and create us a shield. So just to kind of showcase, I don't know if you can see it on the video or not, but there is a checkered background on this Google drawing. So if I don't change the background color, if I don't change this to anything and leave it transparent like this, then any icon I put on here, if I download it, I won't have a background, which is actually ideal because then if I upload it to, to Canva or anything else, I won't have to worry about trying to edit out a background. So we're going to go ahead and hop on in here. So we're going to drop in a shape. So if I usually click the shapes icon, you can also go up here to insert and shape if you want to, but I usually tend to click on the icons, and then on the shapes, we're just going to take a look at this, and looking through it, I like this guy right here on the second to last row. Looks kind of like a trapezoid shape a little bit, but you can kind of see we do have a little bit of a shield looking logo here. Sometimes the ones you find online are more rounded, but like I said, you don't necessarily have to recreate it exactly. So we're just going to manipulate this and try and make us a little bit of almost kind of like a patch. Because another thing you want to kind of remember is you want, as you're creating these logos, don't try and make them overly complicated. If that works for you, however you can. But there's going to be some other applications we're going to use this for, because the more simple the icon, for one, it's a little bit more recognizable and easier to recreate. And then the other thing is it's a little bit fast. I mean, it's just faster to create these things. And so, but you'll see what I'm talking about here in a little bit. And so if we want to get rid of some of this excess canvas here, the cool thing about Google Drawings is you actually have this little grabber right here at the bottom. I can grab this slide or this canvas here, and I can reshape this. So that way I don't have a lot of negative space, because even though it's just the icon, when I download it, it's going to download whatever the size of this canvas is. So you would still have to maybe crop. So I'm just going to kind of trim off this extra canvas a little bit. Okay. All right. So let's center this up, and you can use the little red lines to kind of indicate where you need it to be. All right. So let's choose some colors here. So I'm going to select my shape. One thing I like to do is a lot of times when I'm working with icons, I like to get rid of the border. So I just have a solid color here. And then let's start off simple. We'll just go with a black shape here. Okay. And so from here, I'm going to kind of layer this up a little bit. So I'm going to hit Command D. I'm on a Mac. If you're on a PC, you can do Control D, but that'll actually give you the duplicate. It's a little bit quicker than doing copy paste every time. But if you like copy paste, you can do that. You can also right click and do the copy paste, and then you can also, I believe there's duplicate. I might be wrong. Maybe there's not. Actually, I believe it's up here on the edit. Yep, up here under edit, you can duplicate. So I'm going to go and put this right back under here, right on top of it. I got those red lines to tell me where it is. I'm going to change the color. I'm going to go royal blue, and then I'm going to resize my shape. Now, a fun little trick you can do, if you hold down the Option key and grab a corner, it'll resize it. It'll make it all the same at one time, okay? So we're going to resize this just a little bit and let go of the Option key. Now, one thing you'll notice sometimes when you resize not perfect shape, so like if you're doing this with a circle or a square, it might work a little bit better, but as you can see here, it's a little bit thicker here versus up here. That's easy to fix. All I got to do is just kind of grab it, and then I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and just kind of resize these shapes, grabbing the sides, and just kind of work this a little bit quicker, or a little bit easier that way. So now I have a little border here. I'm going to do this one more time. We'll put this on top of here. Drop it down, and then let's change this one to white. I'm going to drop this down. Make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to try and make it around the same size as before. Make a little tweaks here and there. All right, so here we have a nice little shield logo. And this is just the colors I'm choosing. You can make even more of these if you want to, or you can go, you can change it around. And the nice thing about this is I can change any of these colors that I want to. So say, for example, maybe I want to make this part blue, which actually I think I might. I could do this one blue and then do this second shape, the white color. See, I actually like that a little bit better, so we're going to stick with that. So let's go ahead and think of a brand name real quick. I'll just use the History Nerds, like we were talking about earlier. And so I want to put a graphic in here of some kind. So I'm going to go up here to the photos. You can already have ones pre-created if you want to. You can make a graphic inside of Canva, which we're going to take a look at, and then upload it into Google Drive if you want to use some of these shapes. But another thing you can do is you can just search the web, and we can just find something from here. So let's say we're doing history nerds. So let's look up history and let's look up clip art. Because the nice thing about when we look on the Google images here, usually these are royalty-free images, so I don't have to worry about them being dinged for somebody. I'm going to use this guy right here. I'm just going to go ahead and click on him, click insert. There we go. I'm going to resize them just a little bit. I'm going to put them right up here in the center. And then now we kind of have to figure out, do I like it with the black, or do I want to change the color? Because even though this is an image, I do have some color options. And the reason why I chose this one is all one color. So if I do try and manipulate the colors here, it's all going to be the same. Because if I click on this, I can go up here to Format Options, click on Recolor. And then even though it's black, it's not really giving me a lot of options. There is one right here. It's hard to see it because it's white on white. But if I click on that, it'll actually change the color to the opposite. So I can actually invert colors. And so when I have a black shape, I can change it to white if I want to. And so I like that pretty good. I'm going to resize this. I'm going to hold down the Option key, make it just a little bit smaller, but I want to keep it right there in the center. There we go. And so now I've got my logo on top of a shield. Let's go ahead and put the name of our brand on here, the History Nerd. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a text box. I'm going to click on that, and I'm just going to draw this out real quick. And then let's go ahead and make sure that's centered up. And we're going to change our color to white so we can see it. We want to make sure we can see everything we write. And I'm going to center my text. And then let's type it out, the History Nerds. All right, so from here, a lot of options we can play around with. So with History Nerds, I want to look at the fonts, and then I want to look at more fonts, because from here, I can see every font listed. Because if you just go into Google Drawing or any of the Google apps, you can have some of these listed, but you may not have all of them. So if you go up here to more fonts, you can go through and see every single one of them, and you can also sort them. So, for example, I can go up here to all fonts and change this to display, and so these are all the display fonts. So, like the ones that you want to use in like posters, things that you want to like really kind of showcase the actual name of something. You can also do handwriting, serif, sans serif, monospace, but I like using the display one here. So I'm going to look for something that looks kind of history and see what works. There's that one font I was talking about that would look like that 2022 monotone. So if you like that one, there's a lot of cool ones up here. You have one called Creepster. It looks like kind of like a horror goo dripping font. So there's a lot of really cool ones in here. And you can also even Google fonts that kind of look. Here's a Harry Potter looking one. So if you find one that you can't, because you can't upload fonts to Google, but you can search fonts that you can Google search fonts that kind of replicate that same kind of look. So if you may not have it, you can find the one that closely matches it. All right, so we're going to keep looking real quick. A lot of cool ones in here. We're looking for something that looks along the lines of history. Let's see. I actually might use this Goblin one here. So we're going to click OK. Yeah, that didn't look too bad, but I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger. And then let's go ahead and drop. Let's make these on different lines. And then I'm actually going to make the actual history nerds a little bit bigger. And we'll move that up. And there you go. Called see. This actually works out. My font actually kind of replicates the look of the pillars on this icon here. So right here we go. Now we have an icon that I can utilize and drop onto different things. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to download this. So if you download it as a PNG. PNGs will actually let you keep the clear background. I believe if you do a JPEG, I don't think it keeps the clear background. Another thing you want to do, or that you want to say, for example, I'd like to do another draft of this, but I don't have to keep creating new files. All the shapes and everything I've used in here can be copied over to Google Slides. So on our next part of our thing, we're going to take a look at the Google Slides side of this. So what are some options we can do there? So I'm going to go ahead and give this a title real quick. Forgot to do that earlier. But I'm going to select all this. I can just drag my mouse over everything. And then we're going to go edit, copy. And then I'm going to go and go to a slideshow. Here's a little shortcut for you. If you go to slides.new, you can actually, inside of a Chrome browser, you can actually pull up a brand new slideshow that's inside of your Google Drive. So we'll let this load up real quick. And I can paste this right into this. However, we cannot manipulate the background too much here. So what I'm going to do, and this is something you can actually do in Google Drawings also. If I click on File and go to Page Setup, I can click the drop down here to Custom. And then let's just go, we don't need this to be too big. I'm just going to go square 5 by 5 inches. If I wanted to, I can also go pixels, points, centimeters, whatever you want to, because sometimes you may be trying to replicate a specific file size and it may not have it in inches, so you can change this to whatever you want to. But I just want to do a nice little square. And then I'm going to paste my logo. So we can see it's a little bit bigger than what it needs to be. So I'm just going to hold down the Shift key while everything is selected and just grab a corner and make it all the same size. So here we go. You can see it's a little bit more rectangle. Oh, our font didn't come over, or excuse me, our font didn't resize. So let's resize our font real quick. So let's drop that down. There we go. And the reason why I did this with the shapes instead of just like dropping an image into here is I want to be able to manipulate the shape if I want to, because the feature that I want to utilize inside of Google Slides is the ability to do the multiple drafts. So let's say I create this logo inside of Google Slides. I want to make a new one. I'm going to go right here. I just hit Command D, or remember I can also go Edit and Duplicate. Make sure that you have the slide selected, and you can make multiple copies of it. You can also just hit the backspace button and it'll delete it. So from here, I can now make some changes. So let's say I want to change, like I'm not sure about the font. I can go up here and change it. So let's go to this. Let's go bold. So I could change that up if I wanted to. I could change out the colors. Let's say I can go black here, maybe change the background one to blue. I can do that. So then I can kind of go back and forth and look at the different ones. I can make another one. Let's see. Let's say I want to change this icon. I can go right here, replace image, and then whatever image I put in will actually be the exact same size. So let's search the web again. Let's go up history. Let's see. Let's look up history icon. Oh, so we can do like a back wheel. Sometimes you won't see the exact ones that you want, but you never know. You just kind of keep looking. Let's say I want to use this vase icon. Kind of do a more ancient Rome feel. And again, same trick as I did before. Format options, recolor. I want to find the one that's I can select. We can change this one. This one looks more of like a Greek style. So the one I have actually kind of works from the other one, but let's go something like that. We can manipulate this. Say we wanted to put these on the same line. We can even change out the colors altogether if we want to, something completely different. We can go orange here. Kind of play around with it. Also, kind of keep in mind the color combinations that you use. There's several websites out on the web that you can look up color combinations. Canva actually even has one, because what you don't want to do is have things that clash. The other thing is you want to have readability. So let's say, for example, this is white text. This is still pretty legible because this orange background that I have is kind of a dark orange. If I change this color, this text color to say yellow, still not too bad, but what if my orange color was a little bit brighter orange? Something along those lines. Or green. So yeah, this one's kind of hard to read a little bit because we kind of start losing the history, the name of this right here. So as you can see, we got different ones. So if we don't like it, we just delete it, and then we keep the ones we do like. So that's where Google Slides can come in to help. So what we did over here on the drawing, we can do exact same thing here. Just remember that the drawings has that clear background. So when we download the icon, we can have that clear background. Whereas if I try to download it here, I will get all of this stuff here. So think about this for drafts. You can do the same trick. So you're like, oh, I like this. You can select all over here, go to drawings, get you a new drawing up real quick, and then drop it in there and download that clear background if you want to. All right, so next we're going to take a look. We're actually going to take a look at Canva. So some of you may have used Canva before. It's pretty popular. It's been around for a little bit, but it's definitely starting to pick up steam, I think, especially in the education community. And with that being said, if you've never logged into it, go ahead and take a second real quick to create an account. I would highly recommend the single sign-on option because you can utilize Google, Microsoft, Clever, Apple, or even Facebook logins. So then that way you don't have to try and remember another password. You can also use the Canva for Education link in the previous slide to set up premium features, and then check out some of the options there. So we're going to hop into Canva here real quick. Or I say real quick, we're going to hop in there for a little bit. It is canva.com. Oh, I spelled it. And I'm already signed into it, but this will show you real quick. Let me sign out. We'll go to the main Canva page. So when you come here, you can go to sign up. However, I would actually recommend going to the education link first because you can sign up through the education link and it automatically puts it in once you put in your school email. But once you go in, right here's where you can choose Google or Facebook, and then you can continue with email. If you choose continue with another way, then you'll see the other options for like Clever and Microsoft and Apple. So we'll log in with our Google account. Log into it. And then I'm going to switch over real quick to my education account. And so from here, the way you know you'll have the education account set up is you'll see the education up here. But you also see you have this option now for class. So the cool thing about this, you can actually you can bring your students in and give them that same access if you want to. If I click on my class right here, just show you real quick. This is kind of a little side demo for you. But you can actually set up folders. You can throw in templates if you want to for the students to use. There's even integrated apps if you'd like. And then you can also add in the students. So you can just invite them via code, or you can even import them via your Google Classroom, and it drops them right in, and you can even give them certain access. It's either teacher or student. So if you want to invite another teacher to work with you in your class, you can do that. And then you can also create groups if you want to work with, have students work together on a particular project, and they can actually upload their Canva documents in here if they want to. Doesn't necessarily have to. If you already have something set up with Canvas or Google that you prefer to use, they can do that. But just want to make sure you're aware that you have this option through this. The other thing I want to take a look at is this brand kit. I've already got a couple things in here that I've made previously, but let me just go ahead and clear these out so we can make it look like we have just like yours. So look at the different things we can look here. We can actually change this. So if I want to change this to the brand of my class, I can upload the logos, and I can have this for multiple classes if I want to, because I can upload multiple logos. I can even choose the color palette. So if I want to add in different colors, I can do that. I can also choose text styles, and then I can even upload a font if I want to. And from here, I can go in, I can choose the particular font. I have access to all the fonts inside of Canva. So if I want to make sure my different ones are set up, so that way when it comes time for me to create something, all of them have kind of the same corresponding look with each other, and it makes it that much more kind of cohesive together. All right. So we're going to move into actually creating a logo inside of Canva, and to kind of see this. It's a little bit easier, a lot less creative juices have to flow for this one because we can utilize the templates. All right, so we're going to hop into a template we can take a look at. And so one of the nice things that you have when you have the education login, they have kind of templates that you probably would use a little bit more often. So you have presentations, videos, infographics, posters, even a Google Classroom header, worksheets, lesson plans. I mean, there's already a lot of really cool things that you can go ahead and utilize without even having to figure out things on your own. But what we're going to do is we're going to go up here to search, and we're going to search logo. You can see where I've been on there before. And you can go circle logo, animated logo. We're just going to go regular logo. And so from here, you can see all the different options that you have. According to this, we have 38,441 logos we can choose from. And that's just the ones that are already pre-made. And you can see some of these that are rotating, they have multiple versions of them. And so we can go over here on the left side. Let me move myself over here. And you can actually choose the kind of style that you want to look for. So looking at our theme, let's see. I don't know if there's an education one on here or not. Oh, yep, there is. There's 780 education ones. So I can go ahead and select education, and this will sort through all these. And so now bear in mind, some of these education ones may be a little bit more geared towards clubs or different things, but you might actually find something so like you have cool little graphics already set up. So whereas beforehand, it might be like, oh man, I have to create a graphic for that. There's already ones created here. So you can kind of check things out. And if there's one you like, go for it. So let's see. I'm going to go with this Education for All because I'm still going to utilize the History Nerds name that we have. And also I want to point out that you see Pro here, but since you have the premium access, you actually will be able to use any of these logos here. So don't feel like you have to only look for the ones without the little crown icon. So I'm going to let this load real quick. Okay, so now we've loaded up. And you can see here I have 2 slides. So I've already got 2 different versions of this. So this actually kind of combines the Google Drawing and the Google Slides together, because I can have multiple slides, but also have some clear background options and things like that. So already I can go ahead and figure out what colors I like. So I tend to lean more towards the dark theme one. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that slide. And so let's take a look at what we have here. I've got some nice curved text. I got this pen icon. I could probably use that, but we're going to take a look at some things we want to search. But one thing I do want to do is I want to make this a little bit larger. So if you hit Command A or Control A if you're on PC, you can select everything this way. And then we can hold down Option to resize it. And I'm going to actually just pull this up all the way to the corners there. All right. So now this is a little bit bigger. I can work with this a little bit easier. And so first off, we have our text we want to take a look at. So we're calling ourselves the History Nerds. So I'm going to double click this. And let's just go the History Nerds. That looks pretty clean. If I resize it, I have to be careful because sometimes this effect will go off. However, I can adjust this if I wanted to. If I go to Effects, here's that curve. I can adjust this curve to match my circle a little bit better. But just for time's sake, we're not going to get into that right now. Let's just take this back. There we go. All right, next, so a couple other things I can play around with. I can change these shapes. I kind of like the stars because it goes with the look of the history that we're going for here. We can kind of think of it as American history. But I'm going to go ahead and select these. If I hold down the Shift key, I can select multiple objects. And let's see. Well, let me change the color. Doesn't look like it'll let me do it there. But I can do it here. I'm just going to change these to white. Again, trying to make this as simple as possible. There we go. And then I want to change this logo. See if I can select it. If I hit the Tab key, I can actually go around and select different objects. Here we go. Got our object. I know I've got it selected here. And I'm just going to go ahead and delete that out of there. So I want to try and find something that kind of represents this. So over here on the left side, just kind of point out a couple different things. On the elements, this is where you can get images, like clip art. You can go photos. You can even find videos if you want to, audio, charts, tables, frames for photos if you want to. You can get super, super creative in here. Let's see. We can also look. There's a lot of other integrations we can go in here. You can even create your own Bitmoji. That's crazy. Sorry, a little sidetrack there. So I want to look through here, and I'm going to search anything in Canva. I'm going to search history. And I want to find, let's see, if you look up here, I can look up photos. I can change this to graphics. And I want to look for an icon that is pretty easy to see and recognize. I'm trying to keep it as simple as I can. Again, that's just me. If you want to make it a little bit more interesting, if you see one on here like this is awesome, by all means go for it. Let's see here. All right, I actually kind of like this little guy here. So I'm going to select him. And then I can also get recommendations. I like this one. And looks like, did I put more than one in there? I did. So I'm going to center him up. And then we're going to recolor this because we can't see it right now. Go white. And we can see I need to move this over just a little bit. Calls. The icon is actually bigger, but I want the center of that clock right there. So we're going to put that right there. You can also use the arrow keys to move things around. And there we go. So this all looks pretty good. I like the way it looks. I've got a black background because if I don't have it, I can't see it. Whoops, only selected the circle there. But one thing you can do inside of Canva, when it's time for you to download, if you go up here to share, you can go to the download option. Right here is a checkbox, great check, an item. You can do transparent background. Okay, so we can do, or non-transparent. You can also change the size here. You can also choose the type of file it is. PNG, always a great recommendation because it's usually the best for having a high quality image, but you can also do PDF, SVG, or you can even create a GIF if you want to. But we're going to keep it as the PNG, and then we're going to download that with a transparent background. And then I'm also going to download, actually I might keep it just like that. Now, one thing that you want to kind of bear in mind, this is all white. So let's say, for example, I created a worksheet and I want to be able to see this. So an idea would be to probably have kind of an opposite version of this. So like we have the white version, so we're going to make a black version of it. So I'm going to change the background color to white. Move this back over, and let's see if I can change some colors here. So we're going to change this, and I'm just going to find all my shapes. Make sure I've got everything. Got to get those stars. All right, let's double check. We've got everything here. We can also move myself up here. If you want to kind of get a full screen view of it, you can click the full screen icon down there. You can take a look at it and take a look at what we've done. We've got a dark version and we've got a bright version. This way, no matter what I have, I can use this anytime. So if I have a dark background, I can use this one. If I have a light background, I can use this one. And I'm going to go ahead and download this one. I just want to download this version. So when you have multiple slides and you go to download, you can do all of them. I've already downloaded the first one, so I'm just going to uncheck that, do just the second page, and I want to do the transparent background. The download, when it's an image, it's going to give you a zip file. If it's PDF, it's all one document with multiple pages. But the nice thing about the PDF document is I can still select which pages I want to download, so I don't have to worry about trying to figure out way of hiding pages with the PDF. So we have page 2, transparent background. I'm going to download that. All right, so these are downloaded now. And I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to go to Home. Now, one thing about Canva is it will open up multiple tabs every time you click on something. So kind of be aware of that. Otherwise, you might end up with 40 tabs before you know it. I'm going to go back down here to our brand kit. And I'm going to drop our logo into our slideshow here, or into our brand kit. So I'm going to go up here, brand logos. I'm going to click that, and then I'm going to select my 2 icons here. And it's kind of hard to see, but I have the dark one and I have the light one. So now I have these 2 for whatever situation I have, and I can drop these in there. Okay. So now we've done this. I'm going to turn it over to you. I want you to create a logo for whatever brand or name that you came up with. And so in the live class, this is going to be about a 20-minute time. Because I want you to be able to use Google Drawings, Google Slides, or Canva. Take as long as you want with the video. Obviously, you can pause. You can go back and rewind and watch how I did certain things. If there's still some questions that you have, always feel free to go back to the About Me slide. Shoot me an email or a tweet, and I would be happy to get back with you. So if you're running into a weird problem and you're just like, man, I really wish I could talk to him, by all means, send me an email, and I I will get back to you as quick as I can. So let's get back to our slide here. So yeah, so once you're done, I would love for you to upload your logo here. It's just a quick Google form. So if you would just upload your file. So after you create it, download it, and then upload your document into here. So just add that file right there. And if you're by yourself, you're not with a team or anything, just drop your name right there. That's fine. So that way we can always take a look at this. All right, so take 20 minutes or so, longer if you need to, and create a logo. And then once you've got that, upload it. You can also scan that QR code and send it to me. So take it a moment, and then once you're ready, you can hit play again on the video. All right, so now that you have uploaded your logo, we're actually going to put these into a Google slideshow. So these will already have these pages should be populated with logos from previous entries once we've done the live sessions. So if you're watching this after July 2022, you should see a few logos on here. And then what I'd like for you to do, you may notice these already on your side of it, but I want you to comment. So I want you to actually click the comment button and leave a comment about, if how someone did. Good job. Really like how you did this. Just leave some positivity, I guess you can say. So let me just drop something on here just to show you real quick how that works. So let's just do a quick search the web here. And then just so I have an object on here. And so the way you can do that, you can click select, throw a comment on here. And just leave that right there. That way people can take a look at this when they go back and look at, and hopefully they'll see some positive information. If you see anything that you could possibly suggest, as always, try and be as friendly as possible. But if you see something like, oh, this would actually look really cool with this, feel free to do that. So that way, if there's any good feedback they can get for their logo, maybe they might change something or tweak something for the future, that would be great for them as well. So definitely take a moment to look through those and check them out. Now that we've created the logo, we have to now apply the logo to our stuff throughout the class. So ways we can do that to kind of create that community, that ownership for the students. First off is displaying the logo, applying it to web pages. If you have like a class website, if you have a Canvas page, Google Classroom, and we'll take a look at ways of applying it here in just a second. If you make social media posts, if you have a classroom Facebook page, Instagram post or anything like that, or if you're making posts about your class and want to include that logo in there, you can do that. You can print it out, put it all over the classroom walls, on your door. Whenever you create worksheets, if you're making custom worksheets for your students, drop that logo on there so that way they can see it. You can also create swag, like print off like stickers, laminate little icons for it, and even prizes. And we'll talk about ways of utilizing some different things for that that can still fall in that. Because again, this is rebranding your classroom for free. This is not rebranding your classroom, for a certain price. If you have friends that have different tools that are willing to let you use them, by all means, utilize those resources. The other thing is the templates inside of Canva, which we'll take a look at next, is what's really going to kind of help us apply these logos. But one thing I do want to point out, these are some common sizes that you might utilize for your logo. So whenever you're creating your custom things, you may not find a template that you like, but you want to still use the correct sizing. You can do that here. So worksheets, we all know it, 8.5 by 11. Standard poster size is 18 by 24 inches, which, you also have to have access to a poster printer for that. Google Forms and Google Classroom banners are always 1600 by 400 pixels, a desktop background. So if you want to create a cool logo for your background, or if your school allows custom backgrounds for laptops, you can create it for your class if you'd like to. If you're creating an Instagram post, 1080 by 1080, Instagram stories are 1080 by 1920. Twitter posts, and then also a YouTube thumbnail. So if you're creating videos for your classes and you utilize YouTube, you can create a custom thumbnail, and then right there's the size for that. And then there's several other ones. You just Google them and you can check them out. But I just wanted to have these here for any common sizes. And just to point out, let me make a new slideshow real quick, or just kind of remind you real quick. We looked at it earlier. Remember, if we go under File, and this goes for Google Drawings as well. Let's let it load here for a second. If you go down here to Page Setup and change this to Custom, then you can go here and change inches to pixels. So if you wanted to do, say, the Google Classroom banner, right there, we'll close that out. So now I have the correct size, and then we can drop our logo in. So if I wanted to upload my logo, I want to make sure I grab the right one. Let's grab it right there. Now I can resize it, drop it on there, and now I'm ready to go. So now we can put this however we want to. Let's check out our brand kit inside of Canva. So I'm just going to go ahead and title this Haynes brand kit. And then you can actually add multiple brand kits. I just want to throw that out there also. So you can have multiple logos for the same brand kit. So if you have more than one class with different brands, you can just click up here, Add Brand Kit, and get you a new one. So let's go over here to Projects. We'll go back to Home, and then I want to grab that Google Classroom header. So I'm going to grab this one right here. It's going to go ahead and pull it up. There's that same long, skinny rectangle. And then if you look over here, we'll go ahead and have some templates already made. And we can sort it out. So if I'm doing the history nerds, I probably want to use my history class. And you can see we've already got some really cool options here. So let's utilize, let's say we're going to do this one. Let's see, I'm going to replace this guy. I'm going to actually put our logo in. So here's how we can use this logo. Right over here on the left, logos. And then I want to use the white one here. We'll make it just a little bit bigger. We can do something like that. And then let's say, for example, I want to make this kind of a little bit different history. I can change this out. Let's go here to Elements. Let's go History, Graphics, and then let's grab us something a little bit different, but kind of still in the same ballpark. Maybe something like that. That kind of works, doesn't it? A little bit, except let's actually change this background here. I want to see that a little bit better. Let's change this to like a dark blue color, like that. There we go. And now I can take this and apply this to my Google Classroom logo. I can even also drop this into a form. So let's go ahead and download it. I'm going to download this as a PNG. I'm not going to check transparent background. Click download. Hop over here on the forms. Let's go to forms.google.com. Or you can also go to Google Drive and do a new form. And then I'll show you how to put the form into your Google form, or excuse me, your header into your Google form. If we click the art icon up here, choose image, go to upload, browse. Didn't title the design, but that's okay. Drop it in. You can see it's perfectly sized. We don't have to adjust anything. Click done. And the cool thing about Google Forms, it'll actually adjust the colors and everything to fit your document. And you can take a look at the theme color. So if I wanted to kind of match up with that a little bit more, I can do that. Just change it around however I want to. And there you go. There's our logo. Got our things up here. If we wanted to hop into Google Classroom, we can go on our little waffle here. Hop into the classroom. Let's see, we'll just go world history. We'll go ahead and create. All right, we've got our class made. Go over here to customize, upload photo, drop our photo in here. And then we can resize this to be the right size. Save, and there we go. And there's our Google Classroom banner. So easy enough there. Let's say we're going to apply this to a worksheet. Let's grab one of those real fast before we move on. Let's grab us a worksheet here. So we can find, there's already some worksheet templates in here. Obviously, you can already have ones created. A couple things you can do for ones you've already made. You could scan those in as an image file, and then you could actually upload them into Canva. And then you can kind of customize, drop things in if you want to. Let's see if we have anything history-wise in the templates. So we'll just use this one as an example. So got this here. And again, I want to try and find, or I want to use my logo. We'll drop this one in. Resize that, bring it up here. Now the kids will see, they'll see it. And they always see that logo right there, ready to go. Then we can go in here, adjust what we need to. And kind of work around from that. You kind of get the idea there. And just dropping it in there. So we're applying this all these different places. And like I said, Canva is a great resource, but if you don't necessarily like the way Canva works, these logos are already downloaded. So I can always go into any of the Google Slides or Google Drawings and create anything this. Or if you have other tools that you use, like Microsoft PowerPoint, you can do custom sizes there. As long as you have that file downloaded, especially with the clear background, then you can drop those in literally to anything. So if you already have a Word file, I know you can insert images that way. So you can insert your logo in through there, or even onto a slideshow, Google Sheet or Excel sheet, whatever that you're using with your students. You could utilize those the way you want to. So if you have any questions on that front, always feel free to reach out. Moving around along, we also have printable templates. So sometimes we're not necessarily working in the digital space or working with just worksheets. Sometimes we may want to create something to use in our class to help out with students. So I've left some links on here. To get to them, I would recommend QR coding the slideshow on the first slide and then just coming to this slide to get to them, just because these are actually be easier to get to utilizing a desktop. So if you are using a mobile device, you can look at them, but they may not work as friendly. So going to take a look at these. So table tents. So if you want to create like name tents for your student, if you click on any of these links, these will take you to a copy link. Make a copy of it. And then from here, you've got templates that you can utilize. So just a heads up, the way these will work. Print these off. These are already set to 8.5 by 11. You don't have to do any cutting. Just drop your images in here. So say, for example, all you got to do is click on the replace image. upload from computer. And I want to use this one. Same deal here. And replacing the image, you don't have to worry about trying to flip it. So same deal again. There you go. And from here, you can customize the text. So say you want to make this like a name template or something. We can do that. It should still save a lot of our stuff. So if we want to use some of the same text, we can do that. Make sure we have the text selected. And then we can make our little table tents this way. And then let's do the same up here. I'm just going to duplicate that. If I need to rotate this, I just select my box. I want to just put it right here. And then I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to grab this guy up here. I'm actually going to hold down the Shift key while I do this because you can see it keeps it in little 15-degree increments. Let go of it. And then I'm just going to move this over. There you go. And then I can download this as a PDF. And then once I have my PDF document, I can pull that up. I think I can pull that up in here. Maybe not. So now I have that PDF document, print that off. I've got a name template or a table 10 template. Fold this up, and we'll do this in the live class. So I apologize for my online participants here. But we'll print these off, and you can actually fold these up, fold the dark sections underneath, and then just staple them together, and you've got yourself a nice table tent that you can use. You also we have a long version and we have the short version. Basically, one is just printed landscape and one's printed portrait style. We also have a 3-sided table tent. This one's pretty neat. This was one that it's more of a sits upright, so you can drop your images in here. So if you want to put some important information that'll go on the desk, you can utilize that, and then you just tuck this last corner in underneath. We have door hangers. These are great for if you want to print off something that you can cut the circle out, leave the dotted line there, and then you can just cut out the circle to hang it on your door. You can make this bigger. If you have a giant hole punch out, you can utilize that. And you can also drop your images and text in here or customize these however you want to. Just I would recommend leaving the lines alone so that way you don't mess anything up. And then lastly, this one's a pretty fun one. There's the custom sticky notes. So this one is from Tony Vincent. If you've never heard of him before, he's a teacher out in the Midwest. I believe it's it might be Indiana. But he actually has a website. It's called learninginhand.com. He has a great post. It's from 5 years ago, but it's still really fun to do. You can create custom sticky notes. So if you have just those plain regular sticky notes, you can download the templates here. And then he actually explains instructions on how to do it. You just take your sticky notes, put them onto a printed off version of the template, and then drop your stuff in here. But we have a copy of it here if you want to. So you can go in and drop your custom sticky notes in here. So if you want to put your logo on here, you can do that. So if you want to put these up here, as long as they're inside the square, when you print off this document, they will print off onto the sticky note. And they're great. You can run them through. You only can do 6 at a time, so you have to be may not make as many of these as an entire sticky note book, but if you have the time, you can do that, and you can drop these on there, and then you can utilize a bunch of other things. You can incorporate Bitmojis into it if you want to. Excuse me, wrong one. Let's grab our Bitmoji here. Well, unfortunately, it looks like Bitmoji doesn't want to cooperate with me today. But you can use those with the Bitmoji extension, personalize them a little bit. So you can use your character, your animated character from there, drop them in here, and now you have your icon with your Bitmoji. And again, we're just making these things just ways we can just display them as much as possible around the classroom. All right, and then lastly, are other types of prints. So if you have access to a 3D printer or know someone has access to a 3D printer, there are ways that you can actually print off your icons. So anytime you make an icon, you saw we had all those downloading options on Canva. The SVG, I'll say it again, SVG option, you can actually download or take that file, upload those into a website called Tinkercad. It's a free website that you can log into. We'll just bring it up real quick. And you can actually upload your files and create your own little 3D prints, because if you have access to a 3D printer, you can print things out. So you can do things like this. So this is a little ornament that we did a couple years back. This has our little Viking from our school, and this is completely 3D printed. And so you see it came out pretty nice. We utilize different colors on here, but you can also paint them if you want to. But you can go that one step further to have your logo out there for your students to try out and play around with. So those are other cool ideas they can try with that. And then the other one is, I know a lot of people have definitely gotten into the Cricut and vinyl cutters. And so if you have access to those or know someone has access to them, you can utilize that to create custom stickers or even iron-on T-shirts. So if you want to give out free T-shirts or stickers for a good job, like here's a History Nerd sticker for however you want to use it. But that's another thing that you can do that's free to use if you have access to it or know someone who's willing to let you use it. Because the Cricut cutters, they're fairly simple to use, and you can churn out a lot of these pretty quickly. And then you have custom things that you can utilize with your class all the time. So just always kind of keep that in mind. There's multiple ways that you can use a logo other than just putting on your class website. Okay, so now we're going to take 20 minutes or so, or you can take longer like we did before, if you're watching this video, obviously. So you can pause this now and work on a printable. Try and do an 8.5 by 11 if you'd like to. However, since this one's, we're not going to be printing this one off live with you. If you want to do another one, you could submit it, but click on that link right there once you're done and submit it. When you click on this one, I know some of you may not want to download or figure out a way to download it. So you can just submit the link to it. Just make sure that it's a shareable link that it will have access to. So make sure anyone with the link can view it. Submit it that way. And then once you've got that up, you can check out the next slide, which will be the actual gallery. So take your time, work on this, and then come back. Here you can check out the gallery. This will be just a Google folder that you can access because we may have different types of files that are uploaded. They could be portrait, could be landscape, so it'd be kind of hard to put it all in one slideshow like we did beforehand. So I'd love for you to be able to check out what others have uploaded. And so definitely take a moment to look at that. Lastly, let's reflect on what we've done. We've talked for a fair amount of time about branding, ways of doing branding, looking at some examples of it. So I'd love to hear how you plan to utilize classroom branding with your students. So just like we did before at the beginning, just submit your response here. And then if you want to check out what other people's ideas are, click right there on the next line. Lastly, thank you very much for your attendance today. It's been a pleasure. If you ever have any questions for me, always feel free to reach out. Put my display my information up here one more time. So you can email me at my email address, tweet at me, and then I'd love to connect with you. So if you ever have any questions or comments or anything that you'd like to share, always love to hear them. Other than that, thank you very much for attending and hope you have a wonderful day.